Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Productions channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Album of the Week video. This is episode number 201. Today's episode I will be celebrating the 40th anniversary of Forged in Fire, the classic third album from Canada's hard-working metal band Anvil. Originally released on April 13th of 1983 via the Attic label. So, with that all said, let's begin. After the success of Metal on Metal, the band continued further that success into January of 1983. Entering Phase 1 studios in Canada's capital city of Toronto, still keeping the late producer Chris Sangarides, they would record at Phase 1 till finishing it by March. The album would then be released on April 13th, and thus Forged in Fire was born, becoming Anvil's second most highest rated creation behind, well, Metal on Metal. So here we go, folks. Featuring 10 songs of molten metal, clocking in at the length of 39 minutes and 18 seconds. These 10 tracks are, well, beginning with the eponymous title track, Shadow Zone, Free as the Wind, Never Deceive Me, Butterbust Jerky, Future Wars, Hard Times, Fast Ladies, Make It Up to You, Motor Mount, and then ending with Winged Assassins. So there we go, folks. There's your 10 tracks for this classic record. You'd think after releasing such a stone cold classic that they might maybe choke, right? No. Otherwise, this album wouldn't even be regarded as a stone cold classic. Anvil was one of those bands that was able to lay not just one, but two golden eggs in their shed. From the slow yet brimstone pounding of the gigantic title track, heavy as a stone monolith, the embodiment of all things metal. But besides the slow pounding hammers, Anvil dished out as much blistering onslaughts on this album. From classics like Shadow Zone to the air raid attacks of Future Wars and the immortal Winged Assassins to the raging chaos of Motor Mount, these tracks don't take no prisoners. These also lay down the groundwork for the burgeoning speed metal and thrash metal genre, solidifying Anvil as the precursors to those genres. But the album isn't done there. We also have the galloping attack of Free as the Wind, which to this day Anvil still plays, even by using it as a way of paying tribute to someone who is one of Anvil's biggest supporters and even a friend, the one and only, the late Motorhead founder Lemmy Kilmister. Even always telling an hilarious story about their late relationship with Lemmy Kilmister, just being used just before they start jumping into such a great song. This album also contains two great melodic rockers in Never Deceive Me, which is sung by guitar player David Allison, who up to this point has had 4 songs with him behind the mic. Then there is Make It Up to You, which is lip singing about how much his girl makes him feel. Speaking of how much girls make lips feel, an Anvil album couldn't be an Anvil album if it didn't include at least a couple of sex-driven songs. For Forged Fire has great love-driven songs like the Shakespearean-like titling of Butterbus Jerky. Yeah. Ooh. I still don't understand what the hell that really means. What in the world is a Butterbus Jerky? Is it... I'm not going to go any further. I think it's almost self-explanatory what he actually could be referring to. And, of course, the raucous romp of Hard Times, Fast Ladies. Forged in Fire is pretty much up there as one of my all-time favorite Anvil albums, and metal albums in general. At times, I might even feel that it somewhat comes short, though. But to me, this and Metal on Metal are neck and neck in each other. Just solid albums, just, from start to finish. After this, Aerosmith manager David Krebs and assistant Paul O'Neill had signed a managing contract with Anvil and convinced Attic Records to release the band from its contract, so the band could sign with a possible major label. However, after initial interest, Krebs eventually stopped returning phone calls and did not get the band a major recording contract, but not without Attic Records bleeding out one last album to cash in on the band with the odds and sods release of Backwaxed, which contains a few unreleased songs and some B-side tracks, with the title track being taken from the Forged in Fire sessions. Apparently, it was left off because the Attic Records label thought it was too explicit. They must have not really listened to the albums. Eventually, David Krebs would release the band from his contract in mid of 1986. The band, however, would record a demo in the same year, which would be used both as a way to shop for labels and as a stepping stone for what would become their follow-up to Forged in Fire, which eventually Brian Slagle of Metal Blade would answer on, giving Anvil a new home for a while there, which led to, of course, the album Strength of Steel, and which is a highly underrated album, which has already been spotlighted on a past Album of the Week episode, and of course, Pound for Pound from 1988. And of course, the rest is history there with Anvil. I don't really need to recite any of the other history that comes afterwards because I expect or suppose that most of you have seen the Anvil movie, which is what regained Anvil's popularity. And to this day, they still are riding off that popularity with releasing more and more albums, and even one last year. And I've seen Anvil right now about 2 times already. So there we go. Forged in Fire has reached its 40th anniversary. What a great time to celebrate this classic. So for those who have spent years blasting this untimely album, you can leave your thoughts, whether they be positive or negative, in the comments section below. But if you've never even listened to Forged in Fire, go and listen to it. I think it's worth every bit of your time. So with that, this is Heavy Thrash Head saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.